oh man, this is the last episode of me being 27. I'm just super excited about it, and I'm getting older and older by the day. I can already see some gray hairs in the hair, so it's fine. It's okay. We're
30's
getting
right
there.
around the corner, man. 30's right around the corner.
It hurts. It hurts. That's for sure.
I'm just
But we're
saying.
super excited today because we have the one and only Judith Eisenberg coming on the show to talk about her new short film, 42 Seconds, which is
Yes.
making its way through the festival circuit and is performing very well. But she is an amazing individual.
Yeah, it was really fun to talk to her and hear her approach about how she does things, how she likes to work with the same group of people and finding the right people, and why she even started making her own content as an
Right?
actress, because she was an actress. And, you reach a certain age and people don't want to hire you anymore. She's like, well, fuck it. I'm going to make my own stuff and put myself in it. It's a really fun interview, man. She's really, we can learn a lot from her, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners are going to be like, oh, that's good information. So yeah, I'm excited for everybody to listen to that.
Oh man, me too, man. Me too. Well, that's later on the show. Now, let's get a little crazy. Hello, everyone. So, you want to start a podcast but have no idea where to start? Well, Crazy Ant Media is here to help you. We want to assist you finding your VFE. What's VFE, you ask? Well, that is your voice, your format, and your equipment. These are the three biggest essentials you need to start your podcast. All those hours watching nonstop YouTube videos or all those random website links, those are done. Just hop on a Zoom call with us and we'll talk about everything you need to know to create your own podcast and find your voice. Plus, we will send you home with a 12-page packet over everything we just discussed. It's very in-depth. It is definitely a must-need while trying to start your first podcast. Contact us at info@crazyantmedia.com today so that you can start finding your podcast voice for tomorrow. What's up, guys? Oh my goodness. Episode 259 of ITCAFpodcast. And you guys know your host with the most, myself, JLo Fantastic, and the one and only Mal.
What's up?
Boy, oh boy, it's kind of crazy that we've gotten this far, but it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. But everybody knows that we are filmmakers.
Yes.
So there is a new film that we are in pre-production on. It's titled The Lesson Plan. Dustin wrote this one, which is very exciting.
Yes.
And we have a new social media page up right now for it. That's right. On Instagram and Threads, go to the LP Film, where you can stay up to date with everything that we have going on with that production. We're super excited about it. It's not as hardcore as our last film, but it also still touches on conversation starters, which we're
Yeah, for
very
sure.
excited about. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's kind of a personal story, inspired by my lovely daughter, aka your lovely wife, and so it's got a little bit of a personal background behind it, but and it deals with something that a lot of people, millions of people across the world are dealing with, and that's anxiety and how it can affect your life, good and bad. So, yeah, it's a fun script. It's got some comedy in it, and I think, woo, writing comedy is no joke. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
It was challenging, but I loved it, and we have a great cast assembled. That's just gonna do a amazing job. So yeah, definitely be sure to give it a follow, and we're gonna need your help to get this thing made. So stay tuned for that. We'll be putting all that on the social media pages and everything. And if you want to be a part of making this magic happen and bringing this story to life, we're gonna tell you how you can do it.
That's right. That's right. Like I said, be sure to follow the LP Film on Instagram and Threads. And of course, before teasing the rest of this show, be sure to leave a rating on this podcast. Comment below and tell us what you actually think about ITCAF Podcast. Because if you didn't know, leaving a rating and comments helps the podcast get seen by more people who enjoy entertainment news, but especially those who are trying to break into the entertainment industry.
For sure.
And that's what we're here for. We want to be that one-stop shop for people who want to break into it. It's not easy, but it's beautiful at the same time. So be sure to do that for us. We really appreciate it. But man, oh man, I'm sure everybody has seen the Upfronts were this past week. And man, a whole bunch of television news. That's for sure. So we're going to be talking all about it. There's a whole bunch of Marvel news. There's some DC news. There's some, you know, sports going to streaming news. I wonder who predicted that on our
Yeah.
2024 predictions video.
Yep. Yep.
But man, oh man, predicting the industry is what we do here at ITCAF Podcast, and we're super proud of it.
Yes.
But before diving deep into all of that, be sure to head over to our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We have shirts, we have hats, we have stickers, we have phone cases, we have things for your dog, we have things for your baby, we have stuffed animals, anything and everything you need as far as merchandise, we have you covered at crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. And you have to follow our accounts at Crazy Ant Media and at ITCAFpodcast, so you know when there is social media deals or when there is merchandise promos, because we don't want you to pay the entire price.
No.
We want you to get a little something off. So be sure to follow us at Crazy Ant Media and at ITCAFpodcast, so you know when those promotional sales are happening.
For sure.
But man, oh man, so much happening in the entertainment industry. So much so that me and Dustin were like, holy crap, how are we going to fit all of this into 2 hours, or roughly around 2 hours? So it's going to be a run and gun type show. So I hope y'all are ready.
Yep.
And we're super excited about it because there's a lot of amazing news that we've been touching on social media, but we're going to be diving deeper into the nitty gritty details in this show.
Yes.
But of course, we're starting with Disney. And it revealed this week that moving forward, Marvel Studios would operate in 3 divisions within the company. Now, Marvel Studios, which will produce all of the MCU films, Marvel Animation, which will produce all of MCU's animation content, and the return of Marvel Television, which will be responsible for all of the MCU's television series. However, all the projects will remain within the larger Marvel Studios multiverse, even if the storylines are not directly connected. And there's some other exciting news that happened with Marvel, so let's get into it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm pumped about all of it. But we've got another latest addition to the Fantastic Four cast. This cast is getting crazy good, y'all. Natasha Lyonne is apparently joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The actor, of course, best known for TV shows Russian Doll and Poker Face, has been cast in the upcoming Fantastic Four. Now, it's not clear who Lyonne will portray in the comic book adventure. Production is expected to begin this summer, and the film is scheduled to land in theaters on July 25th of next year. I have a prediction who I think she's going to play.
Ooh, I'm curious.
Alicia Masters, Thing's girlfriend. That's who I think. But that's just me.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But there is a WandaVision spinoff, and we've been talking about this for a while now. It did get greenlit, but there has been some, where's it been? But we're talking about Agatha all along, and it has set its Disney's premiere date. Finally, the series will debut with 2 episodes on September 18th. Now, the Marvel Studios series hails from Jack Schaefer, the head writer and executive producer on WandaVision, who returns in that role for Agatha all along. Now, WandaVision was the first live-action MCU show on Disney+, if y'all remember that, and that racked up about 23 Emmy nominations upon its debut, including one for Han for Best Supporting Actress in a Limited Series, which rightfully so. She did amazing in that one.
Oh, yeah. And as if we weren't excited enough about that one coming this year, we have to wait a little longer, guys, but it's going to be worth it. I'm talking about the long-anticipated Marvel series, Daredevil Born Again, finally has a release date window. We don't know the date yet, but we know when. It's counting down towards now. Daredevil Born Again will be released in March of next year. The series will not only, of course, see the return of Charlie Cox's Daredevil, but also several other of his Netflix Marvel heroes in arms. When it releases in March, it will bring with it the return of Wilson Bethel's Bullseye, Deborah Ann Woll's Karen Page, Eldon Henson's Foggy Nelson, and, of course, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Vincent D'Onofrio, returning to play Kingpin. Now, a new logo for the show was also revealed, along with confirmation that it will only be 9 episodes. Now, before you freak out, It was supposed to be 18 episodes, right? 9 episodes is apparently the first season. There are rumors swirling that the second season is going to start shooting soon. So I do think that they probably decided for creative aspect to break it up into 2 seasons. And I think that's the smart move. Also, just real quick, latest... they confirmed, Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox confirmed that it was creatively butchered apart and redone. Remember how they went back and started over to link it to the Netflix series. So, and they said originally it was going to have nothing to do with it. And as you know, fans didn't like that. So they went back and changed. So rest assured, guys, it is linked. There's new stuff, there's the new thing, but it is linked and does reference. And apparently the trailer that was dropped during the upfronts, everybody's saying that it was like a trailer for season 4 of Daredevil. So it's clearly, I love it. I love it.
For sure, man, for sure. Well, Marvel also announced that Ironheart will finally be released sometime in 2025. Now, a 2025 release date means Ironheart will have been delayed for roughly 2 years now since Marvel Studios initially slated the series for fall of 2023. Now, it is worth noting, though, that Ironheart's projected release and its subsequent delays have likely been the result of the MCU's scaling back its content volume following a string of MCU disappointments. Now, Marvel Studios has already debuted Echo and X-Men 95 this past year, with, as we just mentioned, Agatha All Along still to come. Now, dropping Ironheart in 2024, in addition to that already crowded slate, may have been seen as going against the studio's new directive, which does make sense because you don't want to pile too much on, which is what Iger and the Feige and the boys have all been talking about recently.
Yeah, my only issue with that is they filmed that thing during her appearance in Black Panther, which she's going to look completely different. So now when it debuts, if they want to do a season 2, she's going to be way older than she was in season 1 because I don't know. I mean, I get it, but whoo. This one, I guess I get still. This thing just won't go away. ABC's confirmed that it has picked up a landmark 35th season of America's Funniest Home Videos, which is currently hosted, of course, by Alfonso Ribeiro. Now, the show is now the longest-running primetime entertainment show in ABC history, having hit more than 700 episodes in the course of its 34 seasons. Now, over the course of its run, America's Funniest Home Videos has given away more than $18 million in prize money and screened more than 2 million video clips. The show is syndicated in more than 103 territories. Now, Ribeiro, who also hosts Dancing with the Stars, took over as America's Funniest Home Video host in 2015. Vin Biona is executive producer on the show, along with Michael Narase. And boy, have times changed. I mean, I remember when it used to be like legit straight up videotapes, VHSs and shit. Now it's just digital, so crazy, man.
Yeah, it's super easy to send stuff in. That's
exactly.
That's for sure. Well, the hot, I don't want to say new, but the hot recent show, Only Murders in the Building, have dropped the first teaser trailer for season 4 on Tuesday, and it is set its premiere date on Hulu. Now, the new season of the popular comedy series will bow on August 27th. Now, in this new teaser, the main trio, which are Martin Short, Steve Martin, and Selena Gomez, learn that a Hollywood studio wants to make a movie out of their podcast, sending them on a whirlwind trip to Los Angeles, while also trying to solve the murder of Saz Pataky, the former stunt double of Martin's character. Now, the official description of Season 4 states, Charles, Oliver, and Mabel wrestle with the shocking events at the end of the Season 3 finale surrounding Charles' stunt double and friend Saz, questioning whether Saz and Charles was intended to be the victim, or our trio's investigation leads them all the way to Los Angeles, where a Hollywood studio is ready to make a film about the Only Murders podcast. Now, as our amateur sleuths race back to New York, they embark on an even more epic journey. Traversing their building courtyard, they delve into the twisted lives of the Arconia's West Tower residents. So that is very interesting. I know when I first started reading it, I was like, I hope they stay in the hotel because last season they got completely away from the hotel.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see that they'll be going back and forth.
Yeah, I do love that they're going to LA, that they want to make a thing. I just think that's a great storyline. That's going to be really good. Another one I'm super excited about. We kind of hinted at it on last week's show. Well, now it appears to be official. Shogun is a limited series no more. They will qualify for the regular series when they participate in the Emmys. Why? Because apparently FX is gearing up for more installments of the drama. The renewal, as I said, was expected and foreshadowed, of course, by star producer Hiroyuki Sanada, closing a deal to continue as Lord Yoshi Toranaga. Also back are co-creators and executive producers and writers Justin Marks and Rachel Kondo, as well as EP Michael Clavel. Or Michaela Clavel, I'm sorry. For now, FX and streaming partner Hulu are only saying that they are working with the estate of Shogun author James Clavel to develop 2 additional seasons. That's right, season 2 and 3, y'all. Yes, balloons, let's see it. Now, there is no mention of green light yet, and a start date for production has not yet been set. But a writer's room is being assembled and will begin this summer. There's also no information on source material or whether or not the new seasons will stay within the Shogun universe or will also draw from other books in Clavel's Asian saga. Now, to me, if you're re-signing your star and he's playing Toranaga, I think it's fairly obvious you're staying in the Shogun universe and not going into the other Asian saga. But, I mean, what do I know? It just seems like that's the no-brainer, but we'll see. I'm just pumped, man. That show was so fucking epic. I'm so glad it's coming back.
Yeah, I know you really enjoyed it. That's for sure. That's for sure. Well, Disney Plus and Hulu have set a new Bruce Springsteen documentary for an October premiere. Now, Road Diary, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band will follow the band's 2023-2024 world tour, featuring footage from the band's rehearsals and backstage moments. Conversations with Springsteen as he develops the set list and archival footage of the E Street Band. Now, the project is intended to complement Springsteen's existing body of autobiographical works, which includes the memoir Born to Run, the live performance and documentary, Springsteen on Broadway, and the films Western Stars and Letter to You. Now, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band recently capped the first 2024 leg of their world tour and will play 25 shows throughout Europe this spring, and summer before returning to North America for more dates at the beginning of August. So they're rocking and rolling, man. And then plus, I mean, we all know that Jeremy Allen White is going to play him in a biopic. So that's very exciting, too.
Hell yeah. I'm excited for this documentary. I watched that one, Letter to You, before the album was released. And it was a black and white, like, behind-the-scenes thing of them recording that album. And it was epic. So I'm really looking forward to this documentary. And I got to go see it, man.
Cool.
My people from my era are all dying off. I got to see these guys before they all die off, man. Got to see the boss. The joint venture of Disney, ESPN, Fox Corp, and Warner Brothers Discovery to package together a sports streaming bundle with all your favorite sports now has a name. It's Venue Sports. Makes sense. Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery unveiled the partnership back in February, as we told you on this very show, positioning the new streaming bundle in a way to reach consumers who don't subscribe to paid TV. Now, it's pegged to debut in the fall of 2024. Pricing and a specific launch date haven't been announced yet for Venue, but at least we know what it's called, and we know it'll be cheap. So, there you go. That's all we need to know.
Venue Sports is not bad compared to other plus names that is out
there.
No,
yeah, it could have been Sports Plus, for Christ's sake. Or, I mean, yeah, Venue, I'll take it every day.
Exactly. Well, Welcome to Wrexham has been renewed for a 4th season at FX. Now, the documentary series follows Reynolds and McCleany as they navigate running the 3rd oldest professional football club in the world. Now, when the two bought the Red Dragons together back in 2020, the team had spent 15 seasons in the National League, the lowest of England's 5 professional football divisions. Now, Wrexham AFC has since seen back-to-back promotions, most recently landing in the English football leagues, League One, now that's the third tier, the
That's right.
journey of which is being chronicled in the current season airing, which is the third season. So that's very exciting. And rumor has it that they're also looking into a team in Mexico to buy out as well. I don't know if they'll document that, but I know Reynolds and McKinney there are having a good business relationship. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man, and they've inspired a couple other stars to buy some soccer teams. So they're just all getting into it. Hollywood is going to own soccer soon. I'm sorry, football. Football. It's football.
There you go.
All right, let's jump over to Fox. And man, I'm loving the industry news because all my favorite shit is falling on me. I love it. The Cleaning Lady has been renewed for season 4 at Fox, which I'm super pumped about. This news comes ahead of the 2-hour season 3 finale, which airs next week, y'all, May 21st. Now, the crime drama stars, of course, Elodie Electra Young as Tony de la Rosa. It's actually Tony De La Rosa, a Cambodian-Filipino former surgeon who works as a cleaning service worker in Las Vegas. Now, after witnessing a murder, Tony is offered a job both as a cleaner and a doctor with a criminal organization. What? Martha Millen, Ava Dominci, Kate Del Castillo, Santiago Cabrera, Sebastian, and Valentino LaSalle, Sean Liu, and Faith Bryant all also star, and they're a phenomenal cast along with Elodie. Aiden Canto, of course, as you guys remember, who played gangster Armand Morales, died unexpectedly at the age of 42 in January after a private bout with appendicitis cancer. Now, sources say that Miranda Kwok and Janine Renshaw, executive producers and showrunners of The Cleaning Lady, will not be continuing in those roles for season 4. Kwok will remain as an executive consultant on the series, but new leadership will be coming in and will be announced in the coming weeks. Yeah, makes sense to me. I mean, they had the whole storyline going for Armando's character, and well, so we'll see where the new showrunners take it, but I'm excited for it. I'm glad it's coming back.
Yeah, right? I mean, how do you move forward after a death? That's hard.
It's hard.
Fox has given Rescue High Surf the cherry time slot after the Super Bowl on February 9th of 2025. Now, that's a big vote of confidence for the freshman drama, which is set to premiere this fall on Monday nights at the 9 p.m. Eastern Time after 911 Lone Star. Now, the Hawaii set lifeguard drama follows the personal and professional lives of the heavy water lifeguards who patrol and protect the north shore of Oahu, the most famous and most dangerous stretch of the coastline in the world. Now, each episode will feature these dedicated, heroic, and adrenaline-seeking first responders saving life in the difficult and often life-threatening conditions of Hawaii's 7-Mile Miracle. Now, the last time Fox aired the Super Bowl in 2023, and it ran an episode of its hit food competition series, Next Level Chef. And in 2020, Fox aired an episode of another unscripted program, The Masked Singer, which both of those have gone on to do pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see how this one goes.
Yeah, for sure. The Super Bowl always seems to give a good boost. Tracker on CBS was after it last time. Huge hit right out the gate.
Huge.
So there you go. This next one, Logan and I just, come on, Anthony, call us, sign us up. We're ready to go. Anthony Anderson, of course, from Blackish, has signed on to executive produce and lead a team of, are you guys ready for this? Male celebrities as they prepare a striptease act for the upcoming Fox special, The Real Full Monty. Now, at the heart of the 2-hour special is a message of awareness for prostate, testicular, and colorectal cancer testing and research. Now, inspired by the 1997 film, of course, The Full Monty, and based on The Real Full Monty, unscripted format first broadcast on the UK's ITV back in 2017, the new special here in America will feature celebs including Anderson himself, Ty Diggs, NFL player Chris Jones, Tyler Posey from Teen Wolf, Bruno Tonioli from Dancing with the Stars. He's always naked anyway. He's going to be just fine. And James Vanderbeek from Dawson's Creek. Now, in the special, It's set to debut this fall on Fox. Anderson will lead Diggs, Jones, Posey, Tonioli, and Vanderbeek as they train and rehearse for the performance, leading to the big striptease dance choreographed by our friend and former guest on this show, Mandy Moore. She is, of course, the choreographer, So You Think You Can Dance. Now, they're going to be doing this, here's the best part, in front of a live audience. That's going to be good, man.
Right.
That's going to be good. So what does that do? Well, of course, that's going to lead them up to the final disrobing, where the men will push their limits of comfortability, modesty, and brotherhood with a series of rehearsals and experiences, both private and public, designed to build confidence and remove them far from their comfort zone and strengthen their bond as a group. Along the way, each of the celebrities will share their personal stories of how cancer has impacted their lives. I love this idea. I think it takes a lot of guts, but it's great that they're doing awareness for this. That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, completely agree, man. Completely agree. Well, we're hopping over to the bunny, Warner Brothers Discovery. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is set to debut on June 26th of 2026 in IMAX.
Ooh.
Now, the second feature in the newly rebooted DC universe to secure its place on its release calendar following James Gunn's Superman. Now, the film stars Millie Alcock. You know her from House of the Dragon as the title Girl of Steel, and with Craig Gillespie, directing from a script by Anya Nogroya.
Yes!
The project, adapted from 2022's comic book series of the same title by Tom King and Bequeath Evely, takes Supergirl away from Earth as she travels through the cosmos with her trusty canine Crypto, the Superdog, in order to escape a life struck perpetually under the shadow of her cousin, Superman. She encounters an alien girl named Rethai, who is bent on revenge for the death of her father and recruits Supergirl to help her. Now, Alcock is widely expected to appear as Supergirl in DC's project before Woman of Tomorrow. Now, though Gunn has not confirmed whether it will be with or without her Kryptonian cousin Kal-El, we may never know until it comes out. But we'll see. We'll see.
My guess is she has Crypto. And James Gunn has already said that Crypto is in Superman. So she's going to steal his dog and then leave and go into space. So my guess, my money, if I was a betting guy, is she is going to show up in Superman. I'm just saying. Warner Brothers is aiming for a flawless victory. You know what I'm talking about. Dating Mortal Kombat 2 for an IMAX release on October 24th of 2025. Now, the New Line sequel, first announced way back in January of 2022, will be written by Jeremy Slater, best known for the Disney Plus Marvel series Moon Knight. Simon McQuoid, who directed Mortal Kombat, returns to direct the follow-up. The first Mortal Kombat opened in theaters and on HBO Max in April of 2021, earning $42 million domestically and $83 million worldwide, which was huge during that time at the box office. It's going to be good.
All good things, man. All good things. Well, Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 2 will be available to stream on Max next Tuesday, May 21st. The blockbuster shook up the box office as it passed $500 million at the global box office in March, surpassing the entire run of Dune Part 1. Now, the film opened with $81.5 million in its domestic debut opening weekend and $97 million at the international box office. While the third Dune movie has not been greenlit by Warner Brothers, Denis has promised that he'll only go forward with making the film based on Herbert's Dune Messiah novel if he knows for a fact that it will be better than Dune Part 2, which, it seems that they second one's better than the first one, so hopefully the third one will be better than the second one.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man, we'll see. And if you can't get enough Dune, the Max prequel series Dune Prophecy has apparently cast legendary Indian actress Taboo in a recurring role. Now, she will recur in the role of Sister Francesca. The character is described as strong, intelligent, and alluring. Sister Francesca leaves a lasting impression in her wake. Once a great love of the Emperor, her return to the palace strains the balance of power in the capital. Now, the series was originally commissioned all the way back in 2019 under the title Dune: The Sisterhood. It's inspired by the novel Sisterhood of the Dune, written by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson. The official logline states, are you ready? Set within the expansive universe of Dune, created by acclaimed author Frank Herbert, and 10,000 years before the ascension of Paul Atreides, Dune prophecy follows two Harkonnen sisters as they combat forces that threaten the future of humankind and establish the fabled sect that will become known as Bene Gesserit. The series has yet to set a premiere date. If you're not familiar with Taboo, she is one of the most celebrated actresses in the history of Indian cinema. She's won the National Film Award for Best Actress twice, one for Mahaks, I'm sorry, I butchered that, and the other for Shandi Bar. Now, the Max prequel series has also added Jihai in a recurring guest role. Jihai will play Reverend Mother Kasha, described as the Emperor's own truthsayer and confidant. Reverend Mother Kasha occupies a position of great influence in the Imperium, but when a new challenge leads her to question the Sisterhood's intentions, she finds her role increasingly difficult to navigate. And if you don't know the name, you probably know the face. Jihai has most recently appeared, obviously, in the critically acclaimed HBO series Succession in the role of PR consultant Barry Schneider. And I all know you know who that is. So, a lot of going on is in Dune. A lot of going on.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Well, we did get a first look at season 2 of The Last of Us, and that was unveiled this past week, featuring the stars, of course, Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. The show chronicles the story of Joel and Ellie as they navigate the world overrun by zombies infected with a parasitic fungus, not to mention the ruthless vigilantes, mercenaries, and cannibals, just as a desperate way to survive. Just as the first season of The Last of Us was adapted from the acclaimed 2013 video game of the same title, season 2 of the series is expected to follow the events of the 2020 sequel, The Last of Us Part 2, which details with the fallout from Joel's action in the season 1 finale. The season 2, the second season of The Last of Us is set to premiere in 2025. So that's not that far away, but don't be like another Stranger Things where you take 2-year gaps every single time.
Right? That's going to suck. And you guys might be thinking, what? He knows this? Is he a gamer? But I do. And if you follow The Last of Us, the sequel, the game, it's not good news for Pedro. Because Joel dies. I don't know if they are going to follow along. I'm just saying, maybe we're going to not see him very long in season 2. It's all right. He's got plenty of work. You know, he's good. He's good. Let's jump on over to the Paramount, which we don't know how long they're going to be Paramount, but we're going to keep calling them that.
Yeah.
Amy Sedaris has been added to the list of guest stars stopping by the Frasier revival as it returns for a second season at Paramount+. Sedaris is set to appear as Dr. Doc Stathos, described as a municipal therapist with a down-home scattered veneer. She works with the firefighters at Freddy's Firehouse and is also a big fan of Frasier Crane from his old TV talk show. Now, production on Frasier Season 2 is already underway as it's filmed in front of a studio audience on the Paramount lot in Hollywood. Sedaris is the latest guest to be announced following news that OG Frasier star Perry Gilpin, of course Roz, who appeared as a guest star in the first season finale of the revival, is now also set to make multiple appearances in Season 2 as a recurring guest star. Love it, love it, love it. Let's hope the Paramount lot is still there for them to film.
Just say it. Oh my goodness. Well, things are getting a little wicked over at NBC because they finally unveiled the first full-length trailer for Wicked. It's an adaptation of the beloved Broadway musical. The dazzling, more than 3-minute-long footage finally captures Ariana Grande's Glinda and Cynthia Erivo's Abatha singing 2 of the show's anthems, Popular and Defying Gravity. Now, the prequel of The Wizard of Oz, Wicked, recounts the events that happened before Dorothy followed that yellow brick road iconically, and Alpha, or restricted for her green skin, became the Wicked Witch of the West. It tells the story of the unlikely friendship turned rivalry between Elphaba and Glinda, who first met as classmates at Shiz University and asked a central question. Are people born to be wicked, or do they have wickedness thrust upon them? Now, John M. Chu, the filmmaker of Crazy Rich Asians and In the Heights, is directing the two-part adaptation. The cast also includes Jonathan Bailey as Furio, Michelle Yeoh as Shiz University headmaster Madame Morrible, Ethan Slater as Bok, and Bowen Yang as Pamphany.
There you go.
The first installment is scheduled for November 27th, with the sequel to follow on November 26th of 2025. So that's very exciting. We've been waiting like years for this
Oh,
one.
yeah. And the Broadway show is just massive, so I can't wait to see the film. Another thing I can't wait to see is one of my favorite actors, and one of yours too, I'm betting, Paul Giamatti himself, Mr. In-N-Out Burger, and Jolie Richardson, and Alessandro Nivola, and Simon Russell Beale, and Artie Froshno are all joining the third Downton Abbey feature film. Giamatti, who recently scored an Oscar nomination playing an ornery teacher in The Holdovers, is reprising his role as Harold Levinson, the brother of Elizabeth McGovern's Cora Crantham, a part he played in the TV show that spawned the film franchise. No word yet on who Richardson, Nivola, Beale, and Froshen will portray, nor are there any details about what the plot for this movie is going to be. But this being Downton Abbey, you can expect silverware to be polished to a high gloss, tables set with military precision, and a mad dash to find an adequate number of ladies' maids to service all the guests for this or that soiree. The third film is penned by Downton creator and Oscar-winning Gosford Park writer Julian Fellows. Simon Curtis is returning to direct after helming 2022's Downton Abbey: A New Era. So you're bringing back all the OGs. I feel like it's going to be good.
Right? I mean, it definitely seems like it, that's for sure.
People love it, man.
Speaking of bringing things back and people loving things, Universal and Blumhouse Five Nights at Freddy's 2, a horror sequel set in the haunted Chuck E. Cheese-esque establishment known as Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, will land in theaters on December 5th of 2025. Universal added several Blumhouse titles to its release calendar, including The Woman in the Yard, set for March 28th of 2025, Drop, set for April 11th of 2025, and a couple of others. The studio also shifted the dates for two other buzzy sequels, Megan 2.0 from May 16th of 2025 to June 27th of 2025, and The Black Phone 2 from June 27th of 2025 to October 17th of 2025. So a little bit of switching around, but
sure.
I mean, hey, they're still in the same year, man. I mean, that's all we can really ask for.
Exactly. And I like the move of The Black Phone 2 to more closer to Halloween. Just makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a scary-ass movie, the first one, so the second one, I'm sure, is going to fit right in.
Right.
This next story, I'm super pumped about. So get your gummies or however you prefer to do it. But The Voice Season 26 is going to be feeling good. It's going to get the spirits high. Why? Because it's bringing in two superstar coaches, one being Snoop Dogg. You heard me right, Snoop Dogg. And Michael Bublé. Now, I'm sorry, but you get Reba McEntire, Snoop, and Michael Bublé, and Gwen Stefani all together in the same room. Shit is going to be dope as fuck. The announcement was made as part of the NBC Universal Upfront this week. Now, Snoop took the stage at Radio City Music Hall to announce he was joining the show before he introduced Michael Bublé. Now, Snoop and Bublé will join returning coaches, as I said, Reba McEntire and Gwen Stefani. This marks McEntire's third consecutive season on the show and Stefani's eighth. Yeah, she's getting to be a regular on there now, man. She's been around.
Right. Seems like she comes back every other season. So, I mean, that's
She
cool to
does.
see. That's cool to see. Well, NBC announced earlier this week that it had purchased the rights to broadcast an extra NFL game on Saturday, December 21st, presumably adding a bigger audience to the last shopping weekend before Christmas. Now, NBC already has the rights to broadcast the game on December 22nd as it's part of its Sunday Night Football lineup, of course. The new holiday game schedule marks the first time since 1997 that NBC Universal will present NFL games on both Saturday and Sunday in Week 16 of that season. Now, NBCU is slated to stream an exclusive NFL game in September on Peacock that will take place in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So that's very exciting. More and more live streaming events happening on the streamers.
Yes.
Interesting.
Well done. Well done. Well done prediction. All right. So last week we told you that Disney and Hulu and Max were all getting together to do a little bundle, right? And you can get that one. This time we're going to tell you about a bundle that you might not be able to get. You might still have to pay for all of yours individually. And why? Because I'm going to tell you. The next cable-like streaming bundle, Comcast, is going to later this month launch a 3-way bundle with Peacock, Netflix, and Apple TV Plus, offered, as always, with a deep discount, dubbed the Stream Saver. But here's the kicker, y'all. The bundle will only be available to Comcast broadband and TV customers. Not everybody, just Comcast broadband and TV customers. Now, the 3 streaming services, Peacock, Netflix, and Apple TV Plus, will come, obviously, at a vastly reduced price, although pricing details have not yet been revealed. I think that sucks, bro. I don't want to be a Comcast customer to get it. That's fucking stupid, man.
Yeah, that's very much like a... if you're a T-Mobile member, we will give you Disney Plus for a year for free. So they're trying to balance that out, which is very interesting. But to piggyback off of, what we were talking about last week, it's very interesting because I had learned this past week that in that combination merger of the bundle streaming services for Disney Plus, Max, and Hulu, Disney is taking the lead on that one.
Yeah.
So they're taking all the grunt work to where they can just kick back stuff to Max and Warner Brothers Discovery, which is very interesting, which also makes sense because I feel like Disney is, obviously more excelled in the streaming wars than Max. But it's very interesting. And they also, this is exciting too, because I know we predicted 35, 36. They, on my industry news podcast that I listened to, they think Max... $30, $29.99, which wouldn't be horrible.
No.
They're also hoping for a $25.99.
I'm sure ad supported we could get a 25. Yeah, no doubt about it. And when you think about that, that's going to be a kick-ass bundle because when you think about the content library that Disney has, 100 plus years of Mickey and all of the stuff, and then the 100 plus years of Warner Brothers library of content. Crazy. Jesus Christ, to get them all in one streamer, you could never leave your couch for 20 years.
Yeah. It gets me so excited. It makes me realize how much of a nerd we are and I am with the entertainment industry news because, I'm so excited for that bundle.
Yeah.
It's so funny. We're heading over to Sony. Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who moved their overall deal from Disney's 20th Century Studios to Sony in April of 2019, have been handed full control of the studio's Marvel slate. Now, Sony retains rights to characters including Spider-Man and all of his villains like Green Goblin, and of course Venom, Tom Hardy films, Morbius, aka the live-action feature with Jared Leto, and Black Cat and Silver Sable, both previously in development on the feature film side. Selected TV projects related to Sony's Marvel characters will be produced in partnership with formerly Sony Pictures Entertainment co-chairman Pascal. Also possibly on the table, all the characters from Into the Spider-Verse, and that is very exciting because there's some very popular Into the Spider-Verse characters right now, right?
Oh, yeah, and let's just jump right into it. It said they would TV projects to be done by them. We've already got one coming right out of the gate. Nicolas Cage will once again play Spider-Man Noir, but this time in a Sony Pictures Television live-action series. Now, that's straight out of Into the Spider-Verse, because that's where he played him. This will be the first time the character has ever been portrayed in a live-action project. Cage, as I just said, previously played Spider-Man Noir in the Academy Award-winning animated film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, the series entitled Noir has been ordered to series at MGM Plus and Amazon Prime Video. The series will debut domestically on MGM Plus's linear channel, followed by a global launch on Prime Video. Now, per the official logline, Noir will tell the story of an aging and down-on-luck private investigator, played, of course, by Nicolas Cage, in 1930s New York, who is forced to grapple with his past life as the city's one and only superhero. It is a really popular version of Spider-Man. People loved him in the animated version. I think... And, of course, Cage coming back to do the live action, I think it's going to be huge. And Amy Pascal will be producing that one, as we said. So, yeah, man, I'm all in on that.
For sure, man, for sure. Well, apparently, though, Amazon isn't all in on Sony Picture Television's Marvel drama, Silk Spider Society is no longer moving forward at Amazon. Now, sources say Sony has no plans to shop Sony has plans to shop it around, from former Walking Dead showrunner Angela Kang. It's unclear, though, if Sony should shop it around or should try to pitch it to Disney, which owns the rest of the MCU, as we all know, and has found massive success with its shared universe for films and television. But, I mean, I feel like if one drops it, I don't know, man. It's hard to go back. It's hard to go back. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know. What's interesting though is you brought up Black Cat, and rumors are swirling big time that Black Cat is going to be in Spider-Man 4, which means the MCU will be involved with it. So it won't be a full Sony, because you know how that goes. That's a deal that they've redid. So Tom Holland's is still MCU. Which I'm thrilled about, because if Black Cat's in the MCU, that would be epic, bro. They're going to get that right. It's going to be awesome. What else is just a franchise that won't go away, but I'm okay with it because I've loved every one of these movies. A new entry in the Insidious franchise has apparently been set up for theaters. The next installment of the Blumhouse Productions horror property, co-produced by Screamgems, has been added to Sony's theatrical slate, with the studio dating the film for an August 29th, 2025 release. Now, no further details on the project were disclosed, including whether series regulars such as Patrick Wilson and Lee Wannell would be involved. I'm sure they will. Can you do those movies without them? You can't. So just saying.
Right. I'm pretty sure. Well, the Sydney Sweeney-led Barbarella film is taking shape, with Edgar Wright in talks to direct the picture for Sony. Now, Jane Goldman and Honey Ross are in talks to pen the script. The project also marks another step in Sweeney's continued relationship with Sony Pictures. She most recently starred in the hit classic already, Anyone But You, and, of course, Madam Web for the studio. While Madam Web was largely panned by the critics, Sweeney says her involvement in the film was a strategic business decision that since paid off. Now, Wright, best known for making his hysteric zombie film Shaun of the Dead, is next to direct Glenn Powell in adaptation of Stephen King's The Running Man. Now, Wright's other directorial credits include The Last Night in Soho, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Baby Driver. There's a handful in there that are really good. And, I mean, again, I always go on the record and say Madam Web wasn't that bad. Like, I don't understand. Have you seen it yet?
I have, and it's killing it on Netflix right now. It's number one on Netflix right now, racking up numbers. Bad. So I think it just got unfairly, they're never, I'm sorry, but they're never going to live up to the MCU. So you just have to take it for what they are and go into it, that's just, but I also think it's interesting that he's getting ready to do Sydney Sweeney's Barbarella, and he's directing Glenn Powell's movie.
Right.
Are they still, that's a brilliant. Who else is brilliant? Phoebe Denevour in talks to star in the Untitled shark thriller at Sony Pictures, with Tommy Wirkola directing. Now, while plot details are being kept under wraps, or maybe underwater in this one, production is set to begin in Australia this summer. Adam McKay and Kevin Messick will produce the shark movie under their Hyper Project Industries banner. Deanna Villar is best known, of course, for her role as Daphne Bridgerton in the first 2 seasons of the Netflix series Bridgerton. She recently starred opposite Alden Ehrenreich in the 2023 thriller Fair Play, which sold to Netflix in a massive $20 million deal following the film's premiere at Sundance. That was a badass film. I loved fucking Fair Play. She was brilliant in it, so she's killing it, man.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Well, A24's Civil War, of course, Alex Garden's film about journalists navigating the fractured United States, has set a digital release date. Now, the A24 film, which inspired plenty of critical debate, is set to debut on VOD on May 24th. It will be available to rent and purchase on both Prime Video and Apple TV Plus. Now, of course, this one was starring Kirsten Dunst, Kaylee Spaney, Wagner Moura, Stephen McKinley Henderson, Nick Offerman, and so many more. The film set an A24 record with $25 million opening that weekend at the box office. So, I mean, it's a great film. Like we've talked about before last week, I believe. It's our favorite film of 2024 so far. So be sure to check that one out.
Oh, yeah. I can't talk enough great stuff about that one. All right, let's jump over to Amazon MGM Studios, where another phenomenal actor, Andrew Garfield, is apparently in negotiations to star alongside probably the most popular female actor of this generation, Julia Roberts, in Amazon MGM Studios' upcoming feature, After the Hunt, which will be released in theaters next year. Now, Luca Guadagnino is directing the film from a script penned by Nora Garrett. The film is targeting a summer start of production. Now, After the Hunt is being described as an intense, dramatic thriller about a college professor who finds herself at a personal and professional crossroads when her star pupil levels an accusation against one of her colleagues and a dark secret from her own past threatens to come to light. The project has been a hot property going back to when Imagine landed the script and began developing it at the top of the year, with every A-list director and star chasing it. Once Guadagnino and Roberts were attached, Amazon moved quickly to land the pick, and given the star power already involved, it's no surprise that people like Garfield are now filling out to the ensemble. So, yeah, that sounds amazing. I mean, fuck, that's a great cast, and that sounds like a great story.
For sure. Well, a sequel to Amazon's Roadhouse is set in the works, with Jake Gyllenhaal reprising his role as Dalton. While Amazon is keeping quiet on the other details for now, it is still made sure to give the news of the high-profile project its due, with Amazon MGM Studios chief Jennifer Salke revealing the news. Now, per Amazon MGM Studios, its first Roadhouse film has attracted nearly 80 million worldwide viewers to date. The film premiered on Prime Video March 21st and attracted a record-breaking over 50 million viewers worldwide over its first 2 weekends, now becoming Amazon MGM's most watched-produced film debut ever on a worldwide basis, which is very surprising. So, go them.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm not going to say it's like a masterpiece in filmmaking, but it was fun to watch. It's enjoyable. I'll watch the sequel. Amazon MGM Studios has also got another fun one coming, y'all. They've released the trailer for the comedy film You're Cordially Invited, starring the one and only Reese Witherspoon and Will Ferrell. Now, per the official logline, a woman planning her sister's perfect wedding and the father of a young bride-to-be find out that they are double booked for the same destination wedding at a remote resort on an island off the Georgia coast. Now, when both parties decide to share the small venue, chaos, of course, ensues and disaster awaits. Now, the trailer features scenes of Ferrell and Witherspoon's characters getting involved in chaotic situations, including a moment when Ferrell is wrestling an alligator in a hotel room. You're Cordially Invited will launch globally January 30th of next year on Prime Video. And the trailer is fucking hysterical. They are going to kill this movie. It is going to be so fun.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Well, something else that is loved by the worldwide masses, Legally Blonde. And there's a prequel about the high school years of Elle Woods. And that one has been ordered over here at Amazon Prime. Now, the series was reported to be in development at Prime Video back in April. Currently titled Elle, And the logline for the series states that it follows Elle Woods in high school as we learn about the life experiences that shaped her into that iconic young woman who we've all known and grown to love in that first Legally Blonde film. So that's very exciting. I wonder who they are going to get to play Elle
Well, I
Woods.
was just going to say, does the daughter have any interest in acting? Because she's a fucking
They look,
clone of her
yeah,
mom. She could play
exactly.
a. Of course, then again, Reese Witherspoon still looks like she's the same age. She's fucking beautiful. I mean, she could play a high schooler and everybody'd buy it. I mean, fuck. But I do think the daughter would be interesting casting because she does really
Right.
legit look like her back then. So I don't know. This is no surprise also because this show just keeps going and going in popularity. The Boys has been picked up for a 5th season at Amazon Prime. Season 4 of the raunchy superhero show will debut on June 13th. Now, The Boys Season 4 will launch with its first 3 of 8 total episodes, rolling out the remaining installments on a weekly basis. The finale will stream July 18th. Now, the Emmy-winning drama first premiered all the way back in 2019. Currently, the Boys universe at Amazon consists of the spin-off Gen V, an animated anthology The Boys Presents Diabolical, and a Mexico set offshoot that is still in the development stage. So they are just killing it with this universe, and I don't see it going away anytime soon.
That's for sure, man. That's for sure. Well, we're heading over to Netflix, where Keira Knightley is on board to lead the film adaptation of Ruth Ware's best-selling novel, The Woman in Cabin 10, at Netflix. And what marks one of Dan Lynn's first green lights as the new film chief at the streamer. The Woman in the Cabin 10 follows a travel journalist, played by Knightley, assigned to cover the launch of a luxury yacht. Now, when she witnesses a passenger being tossed overboard in the dead of the night,
Oh.
no one believes her story as all on the ship have been accounted for. Now, Dodgety, she searches for answers, putting her own life in danger as the boat barrels through its desolate North Sea. That sounds very interesting, man.
Shit.
And I mean, I love Keira Knightley.
Me too, man. I'm all in on that one. That sounds intense. You know who else everybody loves? Lacey Chabert. Yep, you know her. You love her. Hallmark movies. Claudia from Party of Five. Little tiny Claudia. Yes, she's all grown up, as you guys know. And she's starring in another Christmas film, but this time not for Hallmark. This time it's going to be for Netflix, y'all. The actor best known, of course, for her role in Mean Girls, Party of Five, and over 30 Hallmark films, will lead Hot Frosty for the streamer. The film will also star Dustin Milligan, Joe Lotruglio, Craig Robinson, Katie Mixon, Lauren Holly, and Chriselle Stoss. Now, the film's official logline reads, 2 years after losing her husband, Kathy magically brings a handsome snowman to life. Okay. Through his naivety, the snowman helps Kathy to laugh, feel, and love again as the two fall for each other just in time for the holidays and before he melts. Hot Frosty joins Netflix's 2024 holiday slate, which includes the Lindsay Lohan star Our Little Secret and Meet Me Next Christmas starring Christina Milian. Now, Chabert is next set to star in Hallmark's The Christmas Quest alongside Christopher Pola and in the channel's unscripted series Celebrations with Lacey Chabert, in which Chabert and her team plan a surprise party to give back to folks who make an impact on their communities. Wow, she's killing it, man. She's getting it done.
Surely seems that way, right? Surely seems that way. Well, Netflix released a first look at Running Point, Mindy Kaling's upcoming comedy series starring Kate Hudson. Per the official logline, when a scandal forces her brother to resign, Isla Gordon, who's played by Hudson, is appointed president of the Los Angeles Waves, one of the most storied professional basketball franchises and her family business. Now, ambitious and often overlooked, Isla will have to prove to her skeptical brothers, the board, and larger sports community that she was right for this job, especially in the unpredictable male-dominated world of sports. So not only has she just started her new singing career, but she's also still acting.
Yeah.
So she's a busy woman, man. Busy woman.
She's following in her mama's footsteps. She's getting it done. Hey, we know Tim McGraw talks about riding a bull in Live Like You Were Dying, right? Well, apparently now he's going to really do it. Tim is headed over to Netflix and adding to his acting resume with a new drama. McGraw will star in the Untitled series, which is set in the world of competitive bull riding. The official logline for this series states that it follows a megastar champion, played by McGraw, facing a life or death crossroads when confronted by the arrival of a fearless young rider whose existence challenges his ways and unearths secrets that force him to reckon with his past. Now, in addition to being one of the top country musicians of all time, McGraw has actually quite a bit of acting experience. Most recently, he starred in the Yellowstone prequel series 1883, as well as a cameo appearance in 2 episodes of Yellowstone itself. Prior to that, he appeared in films like The Blind Side, Country Strong, Tomorrowland, Friday Night Lights, Four Christmases, and The Kingdom. And he's really good. If you guys haven't caught anything that he's in, he's actually a really good fucking actor. So you might want to check this series out. I'm kind of excited for it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, I know some people are excited for this, some people are not. It's very mixed reviewed.
Yeah.
The beloved 1996 golf comedy Happy Gilmore is getting the sequel treatment from Netflix, with the original star Adam Sandler set to return. Now, Happy Gilmore made nearly $40 million at the worldwide box office back in 1996, helping cement Sandler as one of the biggest comedy stars of the decade. And I mean, I think he's just following the Hollywood mold of going back to successful IP, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I just, and this is going to be weird for me to say this because I say all the time that I feel like he just makes the same movie over and over and just with a different named character. But this one, I really do feel like this one is a classic that maybe you shouldn't touch, right?
Yeah.
I out of all of his movies, I loved Happy Gilmore. I just don't think you should touch this one, but I guess we're going to find out if it's worth it.
Right.
Hey, keeping busy, we told you about Will Ferrell, right, with Reese Witherspoon. Well, he's not the only thing he's doing. Will and Rami Youssef are also co-creating Golf, a comedy series at Netflix, with Ferrell also set to star in it. Now, Josh Rabinowitz also serves as co-creator. Ferrell will play a fictional golf legend in the 10-episode series. Youssef will appear on screen in the series, but details regarding his character are being kept under wraps. Will Ferrell is a golf legend? Okay, I'm in. It'll be funny.
I know. It sounds like it'll be funny.
Oh, yeah.
It really will. Something else that may or may not be funny. It'll be interesting to see how many people actually tune into it. Ellen DeGeneres, she's returning to Netflix for her final stand-up special. 6 years after her last comedy hour, Relatable, the special, which marks her second for Netflix, will arrive later in 2024. Now, it will be produced by Ben Winston and Fruwell73. Now, in addition to the special, DeGeneres will also kick off a multi-city stand-up tour on June 19th in San Diego. Now, before DeGeneres hosted her Emmy-winning talk show, she was known for her prolific stand-up comedy career, hosting the Oscars, Emmys, and Grammys, and creating and hosting the Ellen's Game of Games show. So it'll be very interesting, and I've heard she's going to talk about it. She's going to talk about the outing and all that stuff.
Yep.
So I'm curious.
Yep. She makes a joke about it. She says, yes, I'm going to talk about it. Is Portia, but it's not. She is talking about what happened to her on her show. So that should be interesting. I bet she's got a lot to say. That's all I'm saying. This is going to be interesting, too. Trinity herself, Carrie Ann Moss, is joining Arnold in an action comedy series, Fubar Season 2, as a former East German spy who has a passionate history with Schwarzenegger's CIA operative. Now, Moss joins the returning cast of Fubar, which also includes, of course, Schwarzenegger, Monica Barbaro, Fortune Feinster, Travis Van Winkle. Is that a real name? Wow. Jay Baruso, Aparna Brielle, Andy Buckley, Milan Carter, Fabiana Undino, and Barbara Eve Harris. Thank you, Barbara, for having a nice name to pronounce. In Season 2 of Fubar, Schwarzenegger reprises his role as Luke Bruner, a veteran CIA operative who, until recently, was on the verge of retirement. After his last mission in saving another operative who just so happened to be his daughter, he's back and face-to-face with new villains. This one is an old flame from Luke's past who threatens to destroy the world if she doesn't destroy his life first. The Schwarzenegger starring Fubar debuted its first season, of course, on Netflix back in May of 2023. The streamer was quick to order a Season 2, the renewal of that same month. Okay.
I know, right? It's very interesting. Well, we're rounding out the industry news with Apple, of course. Tenzing, a film about the true story of Shapira Tenzing, Norgay's 1953 trek to the summit of Mount Everest, alongside Mund Hillary, has been snapped up by Apple Original Films. Casting is underway for Tenzing, while Loki star Tom Hiddleston is set to play New Zealand mountaineer Hillary. Now, William Dafoe is expected to star as the English expedition leader, Colonel John Hunt. Apple acquired the rights to the project in what was described as a competitive situation at Cannes that kicked everything off. It is one of the first major deals to come out of the market as it goes into day 3. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, and this next one to finish up with is really exciting too. This sounds really good. The Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan heist series 12-12-12 has also landed at Apple TV Plus and is nearing a series order. Now, this series was first reported to be on the market back in January. Mackie and Dornan will both star in the series in addition to executive producing. Now, here's the logline for the series. It says it follows a disgraced FBI agent played by Mackie and an American career criminal played by Dornan who play a zero-sum game of cat and mouse across Europe. At the center of all of the daring epic raid on a bank vault deep beneath the streets of Zurich. The series will take place across 3 timelines, the 12 months prior to the heist, the 12 hours of the heist, and the 12 days after the heist. The series marks a reunion for Dornan and Mackie, who previously starred, of course, together in the 2019 film Synchronic, about 2 paramedics investigating a designer drug that allows users to travel through time. Yeah, that sounds interesting, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love a good time travel.
Sure.
Thing, so it'll be interesting. Well, what's really interesting is our interview with the one and only Judith Eisenberg. Oh my goodness. We always love talking to fellow filmmakers, especially getting into the nitty-gritty of crowdfunding and different ways to fund your film and different aspects of just filmmaking in general. We've talked about before our experience with working with different people on sets, and she's got some funny stories about an editor that took a comedy and made it not a comedy. So we talk all about that. But yeah, I think all the creatives out there are going to love this interview.
Yeah, and this one's also really inspiring in the sense that she makes it clear and lets you know you're never too old to go after your dreams and to start doing what you want to do. She talks about how she was older when she started acting and then had to transition again behind the camera to filmmaker. And I think it's really inspiring for anybody who thinks maybe it's passed you by. It hasn't. And when you listen to her, you're going to realize you can get out there and do it too. So I can't wait for y'all to listen to this one.
Completely agree. Well, here she is.
Judith Eisenberg, welcome inside the Crazy Ant Farm. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for having me on the Crazy Ant Farm. Appreciate it.
Of course. We're excited to talk to you. We always like talking to fellow filmmakers and loving hearing their stories and their journeys and the film. Intense storyline, so we're excited to get into that and the impact that it can have, and we're all about storytelling and using our art to start conversations, and I feel like that film probably going to do a lot of that, so we'll dive into that for sure. But what we like to do to start off with everything is just kind of do a little introduction for the people that may not be familiar with you. So how did you get started in the industry? We always like to ask. Was it something that you knew you always wanted to do? Did you kind of fall into it? How'd you get started?
Well, I started in the industry because I started acting.
Yes.
And I started at an older age, and so I took like 5 years of classes at one studio. I jumped to another studio, and then, of course, because like every actor, I went out to LA. I wanted to study with the groundlings, so I did that, and I studied with all sorts of different methods. The method, Meisner, Strauss, all of them. So I did all that. And then I realized that every role that I auditioned for, I had to wait around for somebody to either accept me or reject me. But at an older age, there wasn't a lot of roles for me unless I was like, I had Alzheimer's or I was a witch or there wasn't, they were kind of more supporting roles. So I stupidly just jumped into filmmaking. I just said, I'm going to make a film. And then the first film I made was a short called Carrie and Angie, and I made it on a very low budget, and it turned out great. It was accepted at festivals, won some awards. It went on Shorts TV, and then I don't know. I've made like 3 more shorts, and I don't know why they do really well. This one I kind of upped my game with the budget.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, it kind of went over my head, so I'm still trying to audition my way into commercials to get some money to get out of my hole.
Yep.
And I know people say to me, well, what are you going to get out of this film? You know, how much money are you going to make? What are you going to get back? And I just said, well, probably nothing at all. So it was really hard. I'm sure you maybe can relate. It's very hard to understand why I do it and what I get out of it. But I wouldn't like not make films, even though
exactly
I'm not very, very financially lucrative on them. I do know next time I definitely am going to get a line producer.
Yeah.
There you go.
First hire line producer who can take care of the budget, because every time anybody ups the budget, I just get anxiety. And you can ask my director and I just freak.
Yeah.
No, we're right there with you. Trust us. We are filmmakers ourselves. And I definitely, with indie filmmaking, you have to wear multiple different hats. So when it came to the budget and the producing part of that specific thing, I left that to my business partner, Dustin. I was like, I can't even, it's very hard. I'll look at it and you keep me updated and all the things. But yes, it's very stressing, very time inducing. Trying to crunch the numbers is something crazy. But I think I really liked what you said about, learning from your projects that you have done before in the past, because we've done the same thing as well. When we shot and put out our first film, when we were on set, we didn't have an editor attached yet. So we really didn't know we knew how we were going to edit it. But I mean, to find an editor who could talk about our creative vision was something that we felt like was kind of difficult to do, because not a lot of people know out there. And this podcast is for the up and comers trying to break into the entertainment industry. So our pitfalls are definitely worth the stories and worth the conversations. But finding a really good editor, or even a decent one, can be very expensive. And when we are indie filmmakers, we put in a lot of our own money, or we look at different things like crowdfunding or angel investment and different things like that. So it's very important to look at all the different avenues and look at all the things that you feel like are most important for each of your films. So don't feel bad about any of it. We're right there with you. Trust us. We're in the pre-production stage of our next film right now. And boy, oh boy, it's looking interesting. That's for sure. Because we're going from a one certain size budget to a $15,000 more. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it turns out. But we're hopeful. You got to be positive in this industry to keep moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for as far as editors are concerned, like my first film, the cinematographer did the editing. And it was supposed to be a comedy, and when I got it back, it was like it wasn't a comedy.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
He had edited the funny out. So I found another editor, which is always hard because you have to take the project away.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she's been my editor on all my films, although I have to say my third film I actually attempted to do another editor, and I don't know what he was thinking. He definitely edited out everything. It was like so dismal.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's funny how you can have all these people, this collaboration, everything perfect. You got a great cinematographer, great gaffer. You're in love on the set. The acting is flowing, and then you get to post-production. You go, what happened?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great point, because I talk about it all the time. And an editor is the most significant part of the crew because they can make or break your film. You can have the best script and the best acting and the best directing possible, and they can make it look like it belongs in, a cartoon back end bin somewhere, right? Or they can take a subpar film and make it look like it's Oscar worthy if you have a good editor. It really is critical to find somebody who knows what you want, right? Understands your vision and can deliver on your vision, because it's so crucial. I don't think enough people understand the editing process, and sometimes it's as simple as taking out one scene or shifting
or a frame.
Yeah. Exactly, it changes the entire scope of the film, and yeah, it's so critically important. It's like, no, this film,
was my new film, 42 Seconds. Well, hopefully. I don't want to say, but there was some acting that didn't work.
Yeah.
And so what we had to do in editing is edit completely around it.
Oh.
Like, I can't explain it, but like that actor that didn't work, we would just sew a frame and then you throw it on the other actor and then took the whole thing from a different point of view.
Yeah.
It's amazing what editing does.
Right?
1 second, and you can recreate.
Yeah.
You could stall a film. My film before this, it was actually at the Phoenix Film Festival, and my partner and I were watching it, and we looked at each other and we go, "This isn't working." So we went back and had to re-edit it because the story, it just wasn't building; it was stalling.
Yeah.
So we took everything out. I'm not an editor, but I sit there with the editor and watch the magic.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, just to be able to maneuver around everything and to have that that open dialogue, I feel like is important too, because we also went through a few editors trying to find the right one for our project, and sometimes there was certain people who were like, well, if you did it this way, that wouldn't really make sense here, or we want to shorten your film down to this because of the attention span, and but we're like, but you're getting away from our vision. We're the directors. We are the ones that are putting this out, distributing it, and you're getting away from our vision. So we, like you, we've had to find different ones to try to navigate and to overall tell our vision. And I think that's what's most important, because like you said, things can get completely lost on the cutting room floor that should be in the forefront of the actual film. So it's always very funny, but it's so interesting too, because do you ever go back and watch the films with family members, friends, and like nitpick it and see the little tiny things that they don't even notice? I think that's always one of the most fun things to do.
Right. I sit in, when it's being screened, I'm like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and then, but that's okay, because I feel like what you love right then and there, you might hate a year from now, because you're a different storyteller at that point. You would have done it a different way at that point. And that's okay, because art is supposed to be interpretive anyway. So it doesn't matter. It's like how whoever sees it at whatever point, at whatever time, is going to interpret it the way they want to interpret it. And you just have to be okay with letting it go. It's like, I've put it out there now. It is what it is. This is how it was when I made it, but maybe even I think it's different, now than what it is. But as an artist, you just have to realize that that's the process, right? You just put it out for the world to digest and ingest, and then you're like, okay. Because, I know, I go back and I look at our first film and I'm like, we could have done this and we could have done that, and now I would say it this way, or now I would say it that way, but it's okay. That's the whole thing. I love that process. And it's interesting because you said you threw it and then you took it from a different angle and everything, because one of I think the most critical mistakes that early on filmmakers make, and it's no doubt because it's balancing the budget, trying to figure out how you can do it, how can we afford it or whatever, but not having multiple cameras or not being able to get multiple angles, because when you get into the editing room, if you have a bad actor, you have a scene that's not working, and you have no other shot to cut to edit to, then you're in trouble. So the idea of, even if you have one camera, make sure you're coming at it, let's shoot it this way. Let's shoot it this way. Let's do this. Because the more your editor has, the better film you're going to have. Because I see so many young filmmakers make the mistake of, they have nothing to cut to.
My second film, we were letting the camera roll after we called cut. And this is a great advice to filmmakers as well. Let it roll. The actors will relax. And if you have an actor that's pushing, you're going to get a more natural performance. Yep. And you could just take a reactive shot, or you can take a line of dialogue, or have them improv a little. At least there's something that you can turn to if an actor's pushing, or they don't know the camera's rolling.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly. And I'm curious too, because you've talked about how, you're shelling out your own money and things like that. Do you normally pay for all of your own films? Do you try to get a pool going, or do you do like crowdfunding? What's your process when it comes to finding money?
My first one I used Kickstarter, but I don't know why. It seems like it was so much cheaper 10 years ago or more. Mm-hmm. And the second one, I did a crowdfunder, and that one was like guerrilla filmmaking. It turned out, it won like a best comedy. It won awards, but maybe people weren't looking for great technical stuff. And then the last one, I actually split the cost with my co-actor. Mm-hmm. And this one, I put my own money in, and then we did something I don't know if every filmmaker is aware of. We did a, what's it called? It's a nonprofit. We did From the Heart Productions. Yeah. And it's a nonprofit organization. They accepted our film, so it's tax deductible. So we got, we must have got 12,000 or more in donations.
Wow. Yeah, there you go.
We actually got almost 7,000 in post-production from somebody I didn't even know. He was a friend of one of the actors. I was like, are you sure? I mean, you want to do this? But this way you're offering them a tax deduction. I can send them the tax number. I felt that was really important because this isn't like a feature where they can invest and I'm going to give them money back.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's a very creative approach to come at it, especially with the content. So let's dive into it. First of all, I'm really curious as to where the idea for the story came from. Is that something that you personally went through? Is it something that somebody knew? It's called 42 Seconds, and it's about survivors of a mass shooting, and they're coming back to the location because they're all having a really hard time dealing with it, and they're trying to move past and heal, so they come back to this location to reminisce and talk about it. But where did the idea of the shooting concept come from? And talk about that a little bit. What was the process of writing it?
Well, I belong to a theater. It's like a kind of an ensemble group, and we have short plays every summer. And it was a short play. It was written by Kurt Scheinman, and I kept watching this short play. Of course, when it's a play, it's all exposition.
Right.
You're saying 3 characters. It's flat. So I said, can I develop this? That's where I got the idea. And I was attracted to it because this is like the sad part, but I experienced a lot of childhood trauma when I was young. And so I had to really, to survive, I've had a lot of therapy. I've done a lot to develop myself as the person I am today. But, to get rid of a lot of the symptoms of trauma that kind of go into your amygdala, into your brain. And so this was a way for me to show that what happens when people have trauma and the way they survive, and that it's a slow process. And also each one of the characters, it wasn't in the play at all, but each one of the characters has different symptoms. And everybody expresses it differently, trying to cover up. So the male character, Jake, he's angry, of course, and no offense, guys, but like all men, he thinks if he saves his girlfriend who went through the experience, that that's the problem. yeah, and he's drinking. Herself, she has definitely shut herself off from her life,
Yep.
and even physically, she's getting migraines. I actually put myself in all my films. So my character is she's actually trying to be a good person and go along with the therapist, and that's how they end up in the diner. So, but she wakes up at night. She can't sleep. She has insomnia. And so they're trying to work their self way to a new normal. And so this is my way. I took a Sundance collab for screenwriting.
Okay.
And I tried to write something from my experience, what happened to me. And it just didn't work. Nobody liked it. Well, I didn't like it. Nobody understood. It just didn't work. I'm best when I express myself through my characters. Yeah. When I'm actually writing about what happened to me more from like the essence of it, or
Yeah.
from the emotional place of it, rather than the actual literal experience. So
I
Well,
I
that's
never
good
do
though.
mass shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good too. But it's all about, writing what you know and feeling what you're most comfortable, putting
Mhm.
out there. As people who have also dealt with childhood trauma and adult trauma, of course, I feel like we all have.
We all have. You can't get through
Yeah,
life.
you really can't without making it out with some sort of scars.
Mhm.
But it's very interesting though, because we always talk about, if there's not a project out there for you, if you're not getting any of those calls, be sure to create your own content. And that's what
Oh,
you're doing. So I
definitely.
want to give you your applause for that, because it takes a lot of strength and courage to be able to do that, because it's a terrifying industry. We have a friend who I'll keep nameless. He just got kind of screwed over. He had an angel
Oh, yeah.
investor for $10 million, signed paperwork,
My
everything
God.
looked over, everything looked fine, had boots on the ground in Atlanta. And then a week before shooting, the angel investor says, "No, I actually don't have any money." So our friend had to pay out of his own pocket all of these
Oh,
people who had
no.
already like been there, getting ready to set up, taken time away from their families to go to a job that they thought was going to happen. So that's why it takes a lot of courage to do this, not just to get over your own self-esteem and to put yourself out there, but there's also shady people in the entertainment
Yeah.
industry that will screw you over. So that's why I don't love telling that story. That's an awful situation that happened. But I mean, spreading awareness about these things are very important. So to be
Right.
able to have that courage to do it yourself, I feel like takes a lot of strength. So kudos to you. I just wanted to give
Thank
you a round
you.
of applause, of
I
course.
just have one more thing that I found that for being a filmmaker, what I try to do is I try to get key people, not famous people,
Hmm.
like my director, Steve Anderson, and also I got a wonderful cinematographer, Byron Warner
Yeah.
from
Hmm.
LA, who worked for $1,500, and he's
Wow.
now in Italy filming Verona, with
Mm.
I forget their names, but all these famous people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he agreed to work on the film. I just wrote to him and I said, "Hey, I looked at your reel. Here's my script." And he was just wonderful. I think he felt like he was in, daycare with us. But what that does, I have Byron, I have Steve. People want to work with them
Hmm.
because they can get experience. These people are really good, and they will work for less money.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll volunteer to be in a great environment with people who really know what they're doing. I just recommend that to new filmmakers. And it doesn't have to be an actor, because who cares about actors? You have to, oh, no offense, actors, but to get a B-roll actor or more, you have to pay them your whole budget. So you
Hmm.
can get great actors without that. But go on Stage 32 and just look for some really good crew.
Yeah. Yeah. Crew is key, and
Yeah.
you're right, and it is. I feel like, because there are crew members out there, there are people in this industry that even have reached a level of success and they are monetarily okay
Retiring.
and they are, but they're genuine artists who do it because they love the craft. They love the art, and they will work on smaller projects for less money. They will do it because they love to do it. And so I think I'm glad you brought it up, because I think a lot of first timers are like, no, he's got some big credits, he'll never work on my film. It's like, just ask. The worst that happens is they say no, but you'd be surprised how many say yes. So go out there, find somebody, and then establish those relationships and keep those relationships, because that's how it fosters into more of...
I did that twice. I had, on my other film, I had a really great guy, too. Yeah. And Byron... This is so stupid, but I looked at his reel and he had like Michael Caine, all these famous people. And I thought, oh, he was probably like, maybe a cameraman on the set and they let him use the footage.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine why he would say yes to our project. And so, but he said yes. And he even flew out and, to our location before the shoot, and went up there with the gaffer and my director. He was just wonderful.
Yeah.
And also during editing, I could send things to him. And he probably made as much on our shoot as he makes like an hour someplace else. And
I love that.
He also got his own dolly. He brought it up.
Yeah. Absolutely love that. That's the kind of
People
stories...
wanted to volunteer. I'm like, yay, okay.
Yeah. Because then they can walk away going, hey, I just had this experience. I just learned this. Before you know it, they're DP in their own project somewhere.
Exactly.
And that's what it's all about. We have been very fortunate to have people do that for us. Hey, come do this. Come do this. I'll teach you this. I'll teach you that. Or we meet this person, or we meet that person. And we've been very lucky in that. So we try to do that as well. Whatever we've been blessed with, we're going to try to do for others, because that's how we all make it in this industry. That's how we all get along in this industry and get to do what we love. So it makes me so happy to hear that others are out there doing it, because it's just so wonderful. So important.
They were great.
Yeah.
I love that too. And surrounding yourself with good people, I feel like, is very important. And with 42 Seconds being such a hardcore, heavy hitting, drama, social justice project, however you want to describe it, whatever box you want to put it in. How did you keep the morale high on set? How did you keep everybody loose and not going inside their own head on set? How do you keep trying to make it fun?
Oh, it was really fun. Because I had such fun people. Our makeup, everybody was great. The only people who really had to dive deep was me and the two other leads.
Right, right.
Yeah. And they were like crying all the time. Yeah. And the director cried with us. But we broke it up. We have flashbacks, which also I had to do a lot of research on, because the script was kind of not working. And so I had to learn how to do those. We have flashbacks and we have present day. So flashbacks are actually fun. Well, they're not that fun because there's a shooting in the
Yeah.
Not that fun.
Not that fun.
You can tell though that you love the storytelling aspect, the process of, and I think that's so critically important when you make the transition to director, because you are in a sense the storyteller. You are crafting, you are taking it from the page and putting it out there for reality. And I love your approach on how you do that. And so one of the things we always talk about is being able to use our art to start conversations and to be able, if we can reach one person that might be going through something that your film is talking about, struggling with, and it doesn't have to be a shooting, it can be any traumatic event that they're dealing with, and to know that they can, because it's not easy. People don't normally just sit down around the table and say, let's talk about shootings, let's talk about this traumatic thing I went through with. But when they talk about a film that they've just seen, and that starts the conversation that leads to the deeper conversation of their own trauma or whatever, then that's what it's all about. If you can produce art that entertains and educates and informs and God willing, reaches people and helps people, that's like the whole point. When going back to the very top of the interview, when you said, when people were asking you, what do you do it for? What do you, if you're not getting any money out of it, what's the point? What
is the point?
Yeah, that's the point, right? Your art is reaching people. It's making a difference somehow in someone's life. On a bad day, somebody sees your film and goes, man, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one going through this kind of a thing. And that's everything for a storyteller or an artist. You know, that's
another, your point. Like when I first went to a screening without the cast, the crew, friends, and family, because they'll always tell you, oh, that was great.
Oh, yeah.
No, so I went to the first screening. It was in Chicago. I was like, oh, they're going to hate it. Or, blah, I'm like this. And then it was a large audience. And I know, I'm just so touched. I won an award, and people came up to me and they said they were so touched. I mean, I had to videotape it for the cast and crew because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It felt like I was disassociating.
Yeah.
Because, so what you're saying is, in editing, I think it's in the editing and in the shooting, there has to be a way, and in the writing, to let the audience in.
Yes.
And it's in pacing. How slow do you want them to come in and go, what's going on? What are they doing? What's happening? It's such a fine line. It's so fine. And you want to have, like, the actors, maybe they're crying, but you don't want the audience just to watch them cry.
Right. They have to connect. There has to be a connectability there.
It's so hard to write like that and film like that and edit like that. And so at the beginning, I thought, this is too slow. It's too slow. And then people said, I loved your pace, how you let us in. I went, whoa, okay.
Isn't that a great feeling?
Well, it is, except, like, we fought over every moment, me and the director and the colorist and the editor. It was a battle. And the sound designer. It wasn't pretty.
That's what it's all about, though.
Yeah. Everybody's feelings were hurt. I was I was like a mediator. I should have, gotten
Post-production has been known to be the war zone sometimes. It's all good. It's okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so what you were saying is, how do you let an audience in without trying to push it on them?
Right.
It's a fine line.
It is.
It really is. It really is. Well, the film is on the festival circuits right now, right?
Yeah, the next one is going to be in New York. I just made arrangements on it's going to New York City on January 22nd at 5:00. I don't have details of the theater yet, though.
Nice.
For sure. Do you have any ideas for, like, distribution? Are you just gonna put it out on, like, YouTube, or are you gonna put it behind a paywall or anything?
My others just went, I never make any money on Shorts TV and Indie Flicks.
Yep.
And my last one, some of the festivals, I don't know, they had distribution. They wrote me and picked it up for like $50 or, something so ridiculous. But this one I'd like to give to the National Alliance of the Mentally Ill, or to if they want it, or to, like, Gabrielle Gifford, or Bloomberg organization. It doesn't preach anti-gun violence. There's nothing. It's not a mouthpiece for that, but it shows, the after effects. Yeah. So it's not a preachy film.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? That's another fine line. How do you make a film that addresses a situation without making it sound like it's a platform for you to push your agenda, right? Then there is a fine line to balance there about, I don't want this to be a mouthpiece or an agenda that I think I'm trying to put out there for the world. I just want it to entertain and inform and say, this is what we're talking about. And yeah, that's sometimes difficult to do. But yeah, congratulations. I mean, just like I said, hearing you.
I have a question too that maybe you guys know, or some of your audience, is I find festivals very frustrating and expensive, and their selection process is beyond my imagination. You get 17,000 films and you're going to choose 100.
Yeah.
I mean, or 4,000 films. I can't even imagine what 4,000 films. So I think I have some other scripts I'm writing, but I'd like to like put them out in a different way. And I know there's different platforms. So that's just a question I have. Maybe
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure. Put that
maybe your
out there.
audience can think about
We,
that.
we did pretty well after we submitted festivals and all that kind of. We did pretty well with. I'm not going to say massive amounts, but we did pretty well making a little bit of money off Vimeo, like putting it out on Vimeo, and you can put it up, and they have to pay for it, and they can get a code to watch it. They have So yeah, there are platforms out there where you can put it behind a paywall, and you can set the price so it's not crazy expensive, but yeah, it worked pretty well for us. You can recoup a little bit of money, but it does give it access on a broader audience. So
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Great.
check
It
that
doesn't
out.
have to be the money, just the
exactly,
audience.
just the audience, yeah, and I believe even on Vimeo at a certain point you can take it from behind the paywall and just make it available for people who have the code to watch it. So it does give it a much larger platform. So
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Do you use Film Freeway?
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
all
a
the fun
process.
stuff.
The one thing that I've always found like mind-boggling to me is the prices. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think there should be any fee to submit your film. If they decide that they want to move forward in the process of using your film, exhibiting your film, then there should be a fee. It'd be like, okay, great. Here's my fee, and you're going to use my film, and it's going to be amazing. The idea that you have to pay these crazy amounts of money
Crazy
to
amount.
festivals
Crazy.
to get told they're not going to pick your film is insane. Like,
Yeah.
I'll gladly pay you $500 if you're going to exhibit my film to a wide audience. I'm not
Yeah.
going to pay you $500 to never hear from you. Like,
Yeah.
Well, you pay like $50.
Exactly.
And then they write you. Unfortunately, we had 20,000 films.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
And we watched yours for sure.
Yep.
And please come to our festival.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Please
It's
come
like, just
by.
write
Yeah.
to me and go, you lose, sucker, and I'll be fine.
Yep.
Right.
You're right. It is.
Exactly. I know.
So. No, go ahead,
Yeah.
Logan. I was going to say that's just another warning to people getting into the industry, indie filmmakers. It's a beast, the circuit. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it
I was
is.
on a podcast a couple weeks ago with a buddy who likes to critique films and tries to go the TikTok lane, and it's pretty successful with it. But he didn't know the process behind submitting your film to film festivals. I'm like, yeah, man, there's different tiers, and like if you're going for like a Sundance or South by Southwest, be expected to pay a lot of money to submit your films. Those film festivals that yeah, those are going to be the ones that you're going to have to shell out a whole lot of money for. The ones that you don't know, you might be able to get by with a little bit less. But yeah, it's a crazy process right now with all
Oh,
that.
it is. Yeah, we submitted to Sundance because my director was so sure we were going to get in. I go, it's ridiculous. It's like $50 early deadline.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, they write me this nice letter. We had, 17,000 submissions.
Of course.
And then I looked on Instagram and what's her name? Malia,
Yeah.
Obama's daughter.
Yeah. Malia. Yeah.
Yeah, so she had a short film, Jesse Eisenberg, Kristen Stewart. I went, there's no way.
Yeah. Those guys are going to get picked first, but it's okay. It's all right. But on the flip side of that, though, for every story that you hear like that, just real quick, because I do want to put it out there for filmmakers because it does happen, you get a Damien Chazelle who makes
Oh,
a
that
short
is so
film
true.
like Whiplash, and somebody sees it and goes, "Holy shit, let's make a full feature out of that
And I
one."
love
And
that
then
film.
it's launched his career as a director into feature films. It does happen. So the idea that, you make these shorts and you do it for the love of the craft and the art, and they get seen, maybe they don't. There is those stories where somebody sees it and goes, wow, you're really talented and we want to continue to work. Let's make this film. So,
Like you're saying, it's really good. Like, I can use my films for demo reels.
yes. Yeah,
Because
exactly.
they're quality. I can use them for. So if you're an actor, it's a great way to get demo reels. Also, if you want to make another film, people aren't going to give you any money if you don't have a film that you finished.
Yep.
And it's up there. It's really good for everybody on the project. If it's a good project, they can put it on their resume.
That's it. That's right.
Yeah.
All
So
good things.
everybody benefits.
Exactly.
Good.
Exactly. Well, Judith, this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for coming
Oh,
on the
thank
show today
you.
and getting a little crazy with us. It doesn't even seem like it's been like 36, 37 minutes. Time just flies when you have
That's
fun, that's
right.
for
Yeah,
sure.
thank you.
No, thank
Let
Of
me know
you.
if there's a
course.
festival in New Orleans. I want to come back.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course.
New Orleans has well, the whole state of Louisiana has several dozen festivals, and they all do pretty well. So.
Oh, really? I'm
Oh,
going to look. I'm
yeah.
filming
Yeah. No.
really
Yeah.
well.
You should definitely
Yeah,
look it up. The
exactly.
NOLA Film Festival is a pretty big one, and but yeah, Lafayette and Baton Rouge, they all have their own little, and they all do pretty well. So check them out.
Okay, have fun on Frenchman Street. My
Yeah. Of course.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's all about social media right now. So is there any social media platforms that we can drive our followers and listeners to?
There's, we have one. Oh, just go to the website for the film. It's www.42seconds.org.
Okay.
Fantastic. We'll drive everybody there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Of course. Well, listen, thank you again so much. Take care, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Bye.
Oh my goodness, it's always great talking and connecting with other fellow indie filmmakers, that's for sure. And I mean, just getting into the nitty-gritty of all the different things. It's so fun.
Yeah, and the process, right? Because I think people hear us talk about it and they're like, "Oh no." But every time we have somebody come on and they go, "Oh, they went through the same shit. Oh, they did this or oh, they did that." And they talk about the same things that are important, right? And the things to look out for. So it is always it's such a good time to hear people say, "No, this is how it works, but it's fun and you could do it." And even if it, she seemed I love her because she's clearly a storyteller, right? But the one thing though that I love that really stood out about the whole interview, and I think is very important because we hear it from people like Judith all the way up to big stars that we interview. Make content. If nothing is happening for you, go make your own content because that's how you stay relevant. That's how you get yourself out there. And to see people doing it, I mean, it's the best advice, whether it's coming from an A-lister all the way down to an indie filmmaker. It's the same advice. Make content. Get yourself out there. So, love that.
All good things, man. All good things. Thank you again, Judith, for coming on the show. All right. Welcome back. Oh, my goodness. It is time for the top 5 segment. And this week, it is top 5 Jenny performances. No, it's top 5 Tom Hanks performances. And man, oh man, this was very difficult because there's so many good ones to pick from.
I mean,
it was very hard. It was very hard.
It was very hard, and it's so funny that you referenced Jenny because neither one of us put it on there, right? Well, I'll tell you, I stayed away from it intentionally because I think that's the one everybody goes to because it was such an epic performance, right? Because guys, if you listen to, we're not talking about movies, we're talking about his performance in general, and I just think that that's everybody's pick. So I tried to stay away from that intentionally. So we'll see. These are good ones though.
They are. I didn't realize until doing this. He's starred in multiple Saving movies.
Yes.
Saving. So that's funny. Speaking of Saving, my number 5 goes to Saving Mr. Banks. This one is about the story of Mary Poppins. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiroo. Just trying to adapt that story and be able for Disney to adapt that story and turned it into a live action movie that also has a little bit of cartoon in it. But I thought he embodied Walt Disney perfectly. I thought he did a really good job. I think, he was battling that line between, okay, I'm Walt Disney and I'm building this empire, and being sympathetic to a woman who cares so near and dear about the Mary Poppins character who was inspired by a real person. So I thought it was a great film. I didn't watch it up until a couple of years ago, and I'm so glad I did because, it's very inspiring. So yeah, number 5 for me, Saving Mr. Banks.
Yeah, and it's funny that you said because he was sympathetic to her, but because she didn't think so. She at first was like, this is not how the character's supposed to be. We're not supposed to have animated shit dancing, and we're not supposed to be, this is like a thing. And he's like, trust me. And then by the end, she was like, "Fuck, you were right. This is brilliant, and everybody's gonna remember it now." And everything. So yeah, it was a very interesting. And Colin Farrell is in the as Mr. Banks, which is really weird. It's kind of a little cameo role, but yeah. My number 5, I think, is probably most remembered for the epic dance scene at FAO Schwartz on the piano, where he's doing the epic dancing on the giant piano. I'm talking about, of course, Big, where he plays a young man named Josh who wishes he was a grown-up because he hates being a kid. And so he gets his wish, and he's grown up, and then he goes through the whole movie realizing that being grown up ain't what it's cracked up to be, and all he wants to do now is go back to being a kid. But it's so good. Tom Hanks is so brilliant because he's this grown-ass man who's playing a kid. And he's brilliant at just being a kid in a grown-up ass body. And the way he pulls it off, you just feel for him the whole time in the movie. And obviously that film spawned so many of those type films, right? Where somebody's, oh, I wish, and now I'm grown up, 13 going on 30, or like so many of them all spawned from this idea originally, Big. So Robert Loggia is the one, of course, that he does the dance scene with, and there's just so many great cast members in that film. But I loved it. I saw it when I was younger. It's quite a while ago that Big came out now. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's true, and it's just a really fun movie. If you guys haven't checked it out, by far, go check it out just for the dance scene alone. I think it's really good. Big, my number 5.
There you go. There you go. Number 4 for me goes to Finch, one of Apple TV Plus's first films that they put out there. I was crying so much in this film. I never thought I could cry so much over a robot. And if you guys don't know, it's about a post-apocalyptic Earth, and this robot is set to protect Tom Hanks's character and Tom Hanks's dog. And along the way, you learn about friendship, love, and what it means to be a human. Yes. And how sometimes with AI and robots and things like that, at least in this time period, they end up being more humans than what humans are. And having the emotions is insane. But yeah, to be able to, it's a survival movie just to be able to continue moving forward. And I mean, that's what we're doing right now in real life, just surviving and continuing moving forward. So I thought it was a great representation of that. But Tom Hanks's portrayal in this film, he's always been a great loner. He's never really needed a lot of people to act alongside of him. I mean, that's, evident in Castaway. So yeah, overall, I love this film. So freaking good. Go check it out on Apple TV Plus. Finch.
Yes. Excellent choice. Excellent choice. My number 4 is one that not a lot of people talk about, but you see it all the time because the name of his production company, if you guys note, every time you see something that he did, Playtone, right? Well, it's Playtone Records, and that spawned from this movie, my number 4, That Thing You Do, where he played a prolific record producer that brought a band together and under his Playtone Records label. Oh my gosh, it's seeing him play like a hard-nosed kind of record executive that's guiding these people the way he wants them to be the big, huge stars and everything. It was so entertaining to kind of watch him because I feel like maybe in real life, that's how he is as a producer. When he's going at a project, saying, I need it to be this way or that way. And this thing has a phenomenal cast. It got Liv Tyler and Charlize Theron and Thomas Everett Scott, Jonathan Schlake, just an amazing group of people that make up this band and their girlfriends. And it's kind of set in an era where, the music is rocking and it's a really fun movie. There's some serious stuff in it as well. But, yeah, and what I really like about this, and it's odd that I chose it for my list of his best performances, but he's kind of like a secondary character. He's not the main character in this thing. He's the record producer that's guiding them, but he's not the forefront of the movie, and yet his performance is stellar. So, and I think sometimes when you can be relegated to the background, again, it's just coffee, relegated to the background and still shine in your performance, I think that says a lot about who you are as an actor. And Tom Hanks does that in this film. That Thing You Do, my number 4.
So good, man. So good. Well, my number 3 goes to a recent film that they put out. probably a couple years ago, 2 years, 1 year now. A Man Called Otto. Tom Hanks is, yeah, 2022. This one is amazing because it's about this old man who's just a loner, just a grumpy old guy that doesn't want to be around anybody. And it's funny because, Tom Hanks, everybody loves Tom Hanks, but in this film, he's that grumpy old man that has that rough exterior. But there's a family across the street that, gets on his good side and figures out how to welcome him into the family. But I mean, it's crazy though, because in this film, you follow him like as he tries to figure out different ways of committing suicide, and then he figures out that there is reasons to live and things like that. But yeah, it's a great film, very emotional, definitely worth the watch. So yeah, my number 3, A Man Called Otto.
That's, unbelievable. So good. So good. My number 3 you referenced, and it is one of his performances. He's had 2 performances where he has had drastic weight loss. Weight loss. This is one of them. My number 3, Castaway, where he plays a FedEx pilot who crashes and is on a deserted island. He's cast away on an island. Everybody thinks he's dead. His wife moves on after a long period of time, obviously, but moves on, thinks he's dead. But he's alive. And he does everything imaginable to stay alive and get back to his life, including going a little nuts. He starts to lose his shit, but who wouldn't out in the sun and just like you're starving and so his volleyball, one of the packages that was on the plane, there's a volleyball, and it becomes his best friend, Wilson. He's got a bloody hand that makes his face, and of course he puts the hair in it with the straw, and Wilson. And Wilson is what saves his life, legitimately. But when you're the only actor in a film, basically, because, they're supporting characters, but it's before he crashes and briefly after he comes back. The rest of the movie is Tom Hanks on an island by himself, drastically going through this process. And it's like a master class in acting. Like, to see this guy's performance and see his digression of losing his shit and basically going from a completely sane, how am I going to survive this? How am I going to a just crazy, insane, delusional guy, and then trying to pull it back together, to reacclimate into society. Masterclass in acting, man. How this guy didn't win an Oscar for that one, I'm shocked by. Yeah, I just, unbelievable performance. Unbelievable. Castaway. If you have not checked that one out, do it. Do it now.
Right. And I mean, another one that if you have not checked out, Where Have You Been Your Entire Life? That's
oh my God, question. Yeah. Duh.
Both of our number 2s, Saving Private Ryan. Man, oh man. This is it falls in the category of a potentially perfect film. Like, it's so damn good. Like, everything about it. The cast is amazing. Paul Giamatti and Vin Diesel and freaking Tom Hanks. Like, it's Matt Damon, of course. But yeah, I mean, there's so many different people in this film. Steven Spielberg did an absolutely amazing job. We've talked about this film so many times on this show, but it's so worth mentioning every time we can. Yeah, I mean, I love this movie every single time. I try to watch it at least once a year.
It is the single greatest war film ever made. And there's been a lot of good ones, right? Apocalypse Now, The Deer Hunter, Full Metal Jacket. There's been a ton of amazing war films. But this is the pinnacle of. It is the most realistic storming of the beach that you will ever see in your life. It is extremely difficult to watch. The first few minutes of when they're coming off those U-boats and trying to get up onto the beaches and make it to that mountainside it's oh my God, man. If you're not crying or just feeling every inch of what's happening right there, you're just not human, because it is so incredibly emotional. And that film, him and Steven Spielberg, they are dedicated to preserving this point in history and telling these stories. Masters of the Air just recently on just so good. Band of Brothers. Like, they're telling these epic stories. And I would say this, because like you said, we've talked about this movie so much, so we could just keep going and going and going. But if you see this movie and you want to know the history, you want to know stuff, take a trip to New Orleans and go to the World War II Museum. It continues to keep expanding thanks to Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg. Started off as strictly a D-Day museum, one little tiny warehouse with a few exhibits. Now it's a whole building, and it's across the street, another whole building with an epic theater, and it's amazing. So if you want to know the history, if you want to know all about it, watch this movie and then go to the World War II Museum in New Orleans. And bring somebody. Bring your kids. Bring your family. And just enjoy the history of the greatest generation of people. We wouldn't have the freedom and liberty to go to such a place or do what we do if not for that generation. So that's why I love this movie. That's why I love them for showing this movie and telling these stories. And I'm getting emotional just talking about it.
That's funny. That's funny. But my number one goes to A League of Their Own. Oh my goodness. If you guys have not seen this movie, what are you doing? I mean, not only is Tom Hanks a great dramatic actor, which a lot of these are dramatic movies, but he actually started off in comedy. He's a really good comedy actor as well. And A League of Their Own is kind of a dramedy, I guess you could say, because it's about the first league of female baseball players. But I mean, there's so many quotables in this film. There's no crying in baseball. I mean, what Tom Hanks's character development in that film, from going to drunk, washed up baseball player to now a coach who's trying to get these women into the facet of their playing careers, I think was absolutely amazing. And what him and like Gina Davis and a couple of other people were able to do. Madonna was in that freaking film. There's so many amazing actresses in that film. But it's an amazing telling of true life events loosely based on real stories. So if you haven't seen that one yet, please be sure to do so. A League of Their Own.
So good. So you nailed it. Like, his performance, his character of how he starts and where he finishes in that film is, again, another master class in how to act. It's just unbelievable. Right. My number one is the second film that he had drastic weight loss in. And remember how I said like the only movie I ever cried in was The Champ? This one, maybe I teared up. I don't know if I full on cried, but I definitely teared up. I was with somebody who watched this movie with me, and she had just lost a relative to AIDS. I'm, of course, talking about Philadelphia, and she, just watching her watch it made it so emotional for me. This performance is, if you guys don't know, it's about a man who has a fling, a one-night stand with another guy. He's married, has a one-night fling, and gets AIDS. And now he's being, because this is, you guys have to remember, this is at the height of AIDS when people aren't real sure what it's all about. You know, they think it's a gay disease. Only gay people get it. And of course, he's playing a gay character. Him and Antonio Banderas are so incredible as the couple. Antonio Banderas in this film, forgiving him for having the one-night stand and staying by his side as he's watching the love of his life die after the love of his life is dying because he cheated on him. Like, I mean, that alone in that story. But the progression of Denzel Washington is an attorney that tries to come on board in him and sue his employment because his employment is trying to deny him all of his benefits and all of his insurance and all the kind of stuff. It's intense. It is intense to watch him deteriorate on film. Kudos to the makeup people and his process of losing all the weight, and you see the lesions start to grow and just I can't even, like, just talking about it is extremely difficult. It is watching a man literally die in front of your eyes. and it's painful and hard to watch, but it's also a beautiful love story. It's also a story of how they're trying to educate. Denzel Washington's character, for example, the lawyer's like, well, okay, I thought it was this too. But he gets to know him and he becomes friends with him. And he's like, this is what it's really all about. This isn't about this or about that. It's about, and just, man, Philadelphia. There is a reason why he won fucking Oscar for this one, because it's just, I just can't. And then Bruce Springsteen's got a fucking incredible song, Oscar song in there, and just called Philadelphia. Just unreal. My number one, Philadelphia. If you guys have not seen it, you definitely need to see it. But be prepared. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, watch it with other people. I watched it by myself, and it was not good.
No, this is not a film you want to watch by yourself. This is definitely a conversation starter. And it will have you feeling every emotion in the book. So yeah, just don't watch it by yourself. Don't do it. But watch it. Sure. Watch it because it's great.
That is our top 5. Let us know what your favorite Tom Hanks performance is. Please be sure to comment below and add us on X or Threads or all the good places. We love the fan interaction. It's so freaking good.
We do.
Well, now we're running through the back half. We got the box office recap, of course. We got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes came in at number 1,
yes.
$56.5 million. Fall Guy came in at number 2 with $13.7 million. Challengers came in at number 3 with $4.7. Turret came in at number 4 with $3.4. And then Godzilla vs. Kong New Empire with $2.5 million. And then you got some new movies coming out this week. Got If, John Krasinski, and Ryan Reynolds. We got Back to Black,
yes.
The Garfield movie, Strangers Chapter 1, and Billie Eilish, Hit Me Hard and Soft. And then, of course, movies you can still go see. Civil War, Abigail, Unsung Hero, Not Another Church Movie, and Wicked Little Letters. So, all the good things. And then, of course, the IMDbPro's top trending segment. The top trending movie is The Idea of You. The top trending TV show is still Fallout. And the top trending star is Nicholas Galitzstein. Galistine.
There you go. Sure.
But yeah, man, all the good stuff. We got to thank our guest one more time, Judith Eisenberg, for coming on the show and getting a little crazy with us. Be sure to follow her. And when 42 Seconds come out, be sure to watch it. We'll be sure to share that when it is available for everyone to see.
Definitely.
And of course, be sure to follow the company on social media at Crazy Ant Media, our new film page at The LP Film. And then, of course, this podcast at ITCAFpodcast on all social media platforms. And then, of course, our other podcast, Everything's OKP, our mental health podcast. The next episode is going to be next Wednesday, and that one's going to be about social media. It was a great conversation between Dustin and I, and I'm very excited for everyone to hear it. And then, of course, be sure to follow us both personally on social media, myself at JLoganAustin and
at Crazy Ant CEO.
That's right, man. That's right. And be sure to subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. And then, of course, if you're watching this video on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for all the latest and greatest notifications coming out of Crazy Ant Media. And then, of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. But you got to follow us at those accounts so you know when that merchandise can be cheaper for you. So that's why you got to do that.
You got to do it.
Man, oh, man, what a great freaking week of industry news. It was jam-packed, but I think we blew through it and got some great stuff out of it. That's for sure. I'm super excited for the upcoming broadcast year, because there's so much happening.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's you and I were talking about it off air the other night. There's so much great content right now. I feel like there's just a real resurgence at both the box office and in TV. It's been nice to see, man. So much creative, original stuff. That's what I'm really liking. We're seeing some original stuff hitting there, and I'm really loving it, man. I'm really loving it. I'm excited. What you got going on this week? I'm gonna go see both Back to Black and If. I'm excited. But that Back in Black looks amazing, man. That's that Amy Winehouse movie, and I saw the trailer, and holy shit! And the woman. Sounds unreal, dude. Sounds just like her. And I saw Stephen Colbert interviewing her. She didn't even sing. She she learned to sing for this movie, and she sounds just like her. So like, fuck, man, you should have been singing the whole time, lady. So I'm excited about both those movies, man.
Yeah, for sure. I know I'm going to try to catch up on some streaming movies because, yeah, falling behind on those. But I have been keeping a list of all the new movies to me that I've been watching this year. And so far, I'm still averaging about one new movie a week.
Yes.
So I'm rocking and rolling with that. I'm super, super happy with that. It's been very fun to be able to document everything. But then, of course, you guys know we love the one, the only